Hi, I'm Dave Camlin and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the research that we're undertaking with Ethno organisers using the SenseMaker app. We've decided to use the SenseMaker app for this research because it's based around the power of story. So it's about collecting the stories that people tell as part of their everyday experiences and turning those stories into research knowledge. So I'm just going to talk you through very quickly through the different stages of the process that we're doing so that you can understand what it is that we're up to. I'm going to share my screen now and I'm going to share with you my iPhone. This is where we've got the app. So the app, the software that we're using is available as an app that you can download on a phone, or also it's available, you can use it on a desktop computer. It's probably easier to see it on the app version. So it's called SenseMaker. This is ethno_org. The way that it works is essentially it starts off by telling a story. So we've put a few prompt questions into the app to just help people to think about what kind of stories are the ones that you routinely or regularly tell about Ethno. So you might imagine a new organizer has come to you for advice about running Ethno. What story would you share with them about what were the pitfalls and pleasures are of being an Ethno organizer? Or imagine you're just catching up in the bar after an Ethno event, and you're talking with other Ethno organisers about what's happened. What story would you share which illustrates how your experience of Ethno has changed over time? Or you've been asked to write a think piece for a national magazine about Ethno and how you came to be involved in it and how you came to think differently or more deeply about the Ethno experience. What story would you share? So just some story prompts to get you started to think, actually, what are the stories that I share about my experience of Ethno? So, and there are different ways to share the story. You can either choose to share your story by typing a story in, but you can also choose to just simply dictate your story. So this is me dictating my story about Ethno. Oh, and it doesn't want to play back. This is me dictating my story about Ethno. Or you might want to share a photograph that's meaningful, that helps to tell the story that you're most interested in. And then all we ask you to do is to give the story a title. And then in the second part of the app, what we do is we ask you to then interpret the story that you've just told by relating it to a series of diagrams. So in this first diagram, we're asking you to think about the story. In the story that I shared, it was about developing a sense of connection? Was it about me developing a sense of connection to myself and my identity? Or was it about developing a sense of connection to other people? Or was it about developing a sense of connection to a particular place? So on the app or the desktop version, you can move the bubble around until you kind of decide where does it sit best. So maybe in the story imaginary story I've told, it's about a connection to a particular place. And then there are a number of these diagrams that we go through. And what this helps us to understand is not just what is your story about, but also what do you think is significant about your story? What meaning do you make of the story? And once we have this data, it enables us to compare your stories in quite different and exciting ways with other people. So for me as a researcher, this is the view that I get once all the stories are collected in. This is from a previous project, and as you can see, all the stories that have been submitted start to form different kinds of patterns, and I can look at any of these patterns. If I want to look at this little collection of stories in the center here, I can see, oh, I wonder what's going on, what's common about these stories here, and then I can look at individual stories and I can compare and I can find similarities. Or I might be looking for, what's this beam of significance that's going on down here? Why are so many of these stories connecting to my people but equally across me and my place? So it helps us to think about the data that we're collecting and the stories that you're sharing in quite different ways. In the previous project that we pioneered SenseMaker on as a way of investigating cultural value, we've managed to turn the findings from that project into a journal article for Nature. So it's a really exciting methodology. It's really pioneering the ways that we can understand cultural value in different and new ways. And we're really excited to be bringing all of this to Ethno as a way of helping to make sense of the Ethno experience. One of the things that we're doing for the first time with SenseMaker on this project is we're using multiple languages, because we realise it's so important that people are able to share a story that's meaningful to them in a language that's familiar to them. So we've also designed the app with English and with Portuguese, so that people have got a choice around which language they respond to. And of course, you can see from the geometric analysis we're able to do, we can look at both sets of stories, whether they're in English or Portuguese or whatever language, and still look at what the similarities and the differences are across multiple cultural and geographic boundaries. So here's Elena, who's going to tell us a little bit about the Portuguese version and how we approach that.
Hi, my name is Helena, and I've been working with the Ethno research project, helping to build the SenseMaker, and especially doing the translation of the inquiry for the Portuguese speakers. And it's been really interesting to work on that, first of all because I think it's really important that the project itself has this care, this attention to speak and to build material not only in English but in other languages. And me as a Portuguese speaker, I find it really important that we are able to communicate with people in their own language, and this allows us to get a more deep and probably much more close to the true connection that we are trying, and the stories that we are trying to get for our analysis for the project. So thank you very much to everyone who has taken and given their time to speak with us. It's really important, and I hope the results of our work will be important for everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Alina. So that's essentially the research that we're doing using SenseMaker with the Ethno organisers group as part of the Ethno research project. We hope you enjoyed this. We hope you're excited at the prospects of what we can do with this research. We very much hope that you want to share your stories and tell us about what is significant and meaningful about your experience of Ethno. And I very much hope that I'll meet you in person at some point not too far down the line. So thanks for listening, and goodbye.